All right, so I did just hit record. Let's see. I am going to share my screen. Okay, so before I dive in, does anybody have any struggles or questions or something that they want to talk about? I mean, I'll leave time at the end for Q&A, but if there's something that you want to just get off your chest or just a quick food question or anything like that, certainly you can ask anytime. But does anybody have anything before I dive into this stuff?
Um, well, if nobody else, I've always wondered about shakes, not Dr. Infantino's specifically, but others. Are those really good for weight loss, or is there something inherent about those that almost prevents weight loss?
That entirely depends on the brand and what's in it and what they're
Mhm.
promoting and because every protein powder is trying to serve a different customer. So some are
Oh,
serving bodybuilders, some are just being a protein supplement. Ours has a few other things. Ours has some gut health stuff in it as well.
huh.
Um, but there's some really good brands out there. I would say as long as it's coming from a grass-fed cow, as long as it's naturally sweetened, as long as it's not high heat processed, those are some quality processes or lack thereof, I guess, or
Mhm.
quality things we're looking for in a good protein powder. So if you're trying to supplement, this is a great question, by the way, I love this. And we'll be talking about supplements coming up pretty soon, actually. Um, and I'll go over this in more depth, but like in my vitamin store, I had my favorite, which was Blue Bonnet. Obviously, I didn't know Dr. Infantino then, but it was naturally sweetened, I believe, with stevia and monk fruit, but natural, either one of those, because either one is good. But
Yeah.
it tasted good. It mixed well. You know, you could just shake it up and it wouldn't be all chunky. It wasn't chalky. It had a good amount of protein. There's not a lot of filler. Um, and then when you're looking for your protein, when you turn it around and look at the nutrition facts, it'll say what's a serving, and it'll say 40 grams or 2 scoops, which is equivalent to 40 grams. So if you're having 40 grams of powder in your shake, but it's only 20 grams of protein in it, okay, so then what's the other 20 grams of? What is it? So
Mhm.
in the case of ours, it's not going to be 40 grams of product and 40 grams of protein because there are other things in it. There's flavors. So sometimes there'll be vanilla or cocoa. Sometimes in our case, there's fiber, there's prebiotics and stuff like that in there. So there may be good reason why there's a big gap between the grams of what it is, a serving and how much protein you're getting. But generally speaking, the closer you are to, say it says it's 30 grams is a serving and you get 27 grams of protein, you only have 3 grams of other stuff, of
Yeah.
filler, which would be a really good number, like the closer they are. That means there's not a lot of other stuff. But that all being said, most protein powders do not have a fat. Not all, some of them do. If it's labeled like keto, it probably will. Um, Protein powders do not have vegetables in them. So, and a lot of protein powders don't have carbohydrates. Some have a little bit. Ours does have a little bit, but it's a lot of those carbohydrates are fiber. So again, feeding the gut the good stuff. So those are the things that you're looking for when you're buying a protein powder that's not ours.
Mhm. Okay.
But I'll go into that when we go into supplements in a few weeks.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah. All right, so today we are going to be talking about the top 7 mistakes I see people making. I've got some shout outs, our funnies, Boy, I got some true and false so we can play again. Gosh, I wish there was more of you. It's just July. Everybody is just on vacation, I think, because I think for a Wednesday, I usually get about 15 people, and there's only 3 of us, and that includes me. So thank you guys for being here. I do appreciate that. Then we'll go into the top 7 mistakes I see people making. This is kind of the stuff I see daily or have seen in the past. Not your fault though, because we have been given so many mixed messages on what the right thing and what the wrong thing is. So we're going to clear all that up today. Then I have a bonus round for you. And then of course we will have time for Q&A. All right, so we got our funny. So today's topic is all about mistakes. So I thought these kind of were cute. I never made a mistake in my life. I thought I did once, but nah. So you stop speaking to people if they make a mistake. Tell us about your perfect life and how you've never done anything wrong. And just his face, I don't know. I think that's kind of cute and funny. All right, so I do have some shout outs. Ellen, she's brand new. She just started. She's already down 5 pounds. Chris, she's on day 16, already down 10 pounds. Barbara, she's on a roll. She's down, she's been a consistent 2 pounds a week. And I think that's the lady on the call today. So congratulations to you. I appreciate that. And then Donna also, she's brand new and she's got some obstacles. She's living with her obstacles. So, and she's down 11 pounds. So, you know, kudos to all of you. I know this process, there's days that are just not very easy. And so you guys, I appreciate you hanging in there and keeping the fight on and continuing to move forward. So congratulations to everybody. I know I didn't mention a lot of people's names who are doing very well, but I always forget to do this part until a couple hours before. And I'm like, oh my gosh, who did I forget? So anyway, let's go ahead and dive right in. Let's play a game. So if you want to unmute and play with me, you can. Okay, so true or false? Skipping breakfast is the worst thing you can do for weight loss. Anybody have a guess?
I thought I knew, but lately I'm confused.
Well, it's hard with intermittent fasting, but I'm tempted to say true.
You know what, you guys are both right. And I'll be honest, this one, I don't know if it was a trick question, but if you guys been in this program and heard me talk at all, one of the things I say almost probably every single Wednesday at some point is that the body, it adapts. So when we want to make some changes, we've got to do something different. So if it is your habit to skip breakfast and never even eat anything till noon or 1 or 2 or 3 o'clock, I have a friend who never eats anything. He just eats once a day at 7 p.m. and that's his only meal. And he eats a lot, but his body has adapted. His body is not going to change unless he does something different. That being said, intermittent fasting is actually very good for the gut. When you don't eat your food, it is forced to go after the sick and dead cells. So that's a good thing there. But if your body does adapt to the fact that you're not going to feed it, you know, for another 15 hours, and you're doing that all the time, every day, the body will literally get used to that and it will turn the dial down on the calorie burning and it will slow your metabolism. So once in a while, skipping your breakfast is actually a good thing, which again is good for your gut. And it also, by the way, intermittent fasting is also good for inducing a lot of the good healthy hormones like human growth hormone. We'll get into that a little bit later. But so once in a while, this is okay. Once in a while, we skip breakfast and do some intermittent fasting. It's okay. Not the worst thing. But as a habit, I like to see maybe just take a shake in the morning. That way you at least start with some protein and get that ball rolling of that metabolism. All right, number 2, calories are calories.
False.
False.
Yes, this is the smart group. I knew you guys would get that one. But yeah, if I have 1,200 calories of donuts and Snickers bars versus 1,200 calories of good, healthy proteins, good, healthy fats, good, healthy vegetables, my body is going to respond a whole lot differently. We've talked about the glycemic index. I'll touch on that a little bit today. But it does absolutely matter. If you're not nourishing your body, there isn't one vitamin in a donut that I know of, or a Snickers bar. Maybe in the peanut, you might get, but really we all know better than that. So very good. Everybody gets 100% on that one. Weight loss is linear. Now oh yes, no. Barbara.
Never.
Yeah, and I see this a lot. And just yesterday and this week, going through some researching in preparation for this talk today, I was looking at weight loss studies, and it showed it's not just a straight line. So you don't go at 200 and then you're at 195 and then you're at 190 and 185 and da 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 da. No, sometimes we gain and then we lose. And there are many, many, many different variables. If I salt my food too much, I'm going to retain water. If I have extra carbohydrates, I'm going to retain water. If I eat a food that's a natural diuretic that makes me pee out all that extra water I was retaining from yesterday's carbohydrates, I'm going to lose a few extra pounds. So there's sometimes when it goes up, but my recommendation to you guys, if you are the type of person who wants to weigh yourself every single day, you want to make sure that you're taking your average. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you take all those weights, you add them all up and divide it by 7. Okay, that's your average for this week. And then only compare that number with last week's average. Not what you did yesterday, because you can absolutely gain a pound or two. They were even talking in the studies, people can vary 5 pounds in a day. And I've done that and I've freaked myself out because I get on these weird kicks where I'm weighing all the time and it makes me a little bit nuts. So I kind of stopped doing that. But for some people weighing every day, it actually helps them stay on track and stay on point. So if your weight does go up, and Doris, I'm glad you're joining us now. Welcome in. This one is for you because we just had this conversation with you this morning. Weight loss is not linear. Sometimes it does go up, but if you just hang in there, your body will get what it needs, and then it will drop back down. Sometimes it just gets a little stubborn, but now that if you add a little strength training or do something a little bit different, it will start to move in the right direction again. We're playing the true and false game, by the way. So true or false, fast food is unhealthy.
Well, you can't make 100% statement on that. So not all of it is.
That's right. Did you want to add?
Most of it is.
Yeah, so my thought about that is if you go to a fast food joint, they give you the food in a quick way. And if you're getting it in a really natural way, and what I mean by that is I'm thinking of like an El Pollo Loco, where the chicken is grilled and it's still on the bone. It's not processed, it's not mechanically separated and added nitrates and all these weird things to it. It's a natural food. And if they serve it on a bed of lettuce and with some avocado and some healthy other, vegetables, there's a lot of fast foods out there that you can do that. There's a lot of fast food restaurants that have a salad. Their chicken sometimes is not, as it is mechanically separated. So you got to kind of pick and choose. But Chipotle is another good one that I like. But there's some out there that will have grilled chickens and some grilled meats, which eventually you might want to include back in or bring back in. As long as you're having it with some vegetables and a healthy fat, it's not all bad. But generally speaking, a slice of pizza or a cheeseburger and French fries is likely not going to give you any vitamins, any nutrients, any fiber, anything but calories and a lot of the saturated bad fats. So for the most part, not all fast food is unhealthy. All right, here's one for you. Eating just before bed causes weight gain. Anybody else?
I've
True.
always heard you should leave time between eating your last meal in bed because your body doesn't have a chance to digest it.
That is 100% right. Now, as far as gaining weight, if you're at 500 calories and then you go, oh my God, it's 10 o'clock and I'm just about to go to bed and I need to eat something because you just got home from work or something, and you ate a piece of chicken and you had some lettuce or, the good foods that are compliant with this program, it's not going to make you gain weight. That will not, because you still would be within your calories and whatnot. However, it is highly, highly, highly recommended that you put at least 3 hours between your last meal and your going to bed, because exactly what Barbara said, when you go to bed, the purpose of going to bed is to sleep and to give your body a rest. And so if I put a meal in my belly and then go right to bed, instead of my heart rate slowing down, sometimes into the 50s and even maybe even 40s, where my heart is literally getting a rest and my gut is getting a rest. Like we talked about the skipping of the meals, that first one. When you don't eat for 12 hours, your gut is getting that rest. So your physical body is not getting a rest because it's now the heart rate can't be low because now it's busy. It has to work to digest. So it's also not going to be a very good sleep, and it's not going to be good for digestion. And they say, studies show too, that people commonly eat before bed, right before bed, are the risk factor for heart attack goes up, because if that's their common practice, their heart never gets to rest at night when they're sleeping, and when that heart is actually supposed to be resting, because it's beating enough to get enough circulation to the gut to digest rather than rest. So it's not necessarily a weight gain thing, unless, of course, you have had all your extra calories for that day and now you're adding another 400. Then yeah, it would also gain you the weight. But it's more about your overall health, heart health, and physical health than it is about weight gain. All right, so let's dive into the top 7 mistakes. Number 1 is cardio. People, when you guys send me your journals and under activity, I see walking, hiking, walking. I see a lot of walking. And there is nothing wrong with walking. However, because when we get our heart rate up, we're burning those extra calories. We're also working that heart and those lungs and the whole cardiovascular system, which keeps those veins and arteries elastic. Because when your blood is pumping extra blood through those arteries and veins, they stretch out. And then when you're at rest, they come back to normal. And by doing that, you keep them flexible. You've heard of hardening of the arteries and you've heard of all that. And then when your body needs that extra blood and you go for a run and those arteries and veins are hard because they haven't been worked, that's when we have problems. That's when we run into huge problems. However, if you're not doing some strength training, which is what turns the dial up on your calorie burning on a 24/7 level, then your body is going to be dependent on doing that cardio every day. So if cardio is my only form of exercise and I work out for 20 minutes on the treadmill, or I take my hike and I go uphill, I get my heart rate up. But something happens today and I hurt my ankle, or family came for a visit and I can't go on that hike, and I eat the same, then my body might put on the weight because it didn't get that extra calorie burn. When I build out that lean muscle, when I work my chest and I work my back and I work those larger muscle groups, chest, back, core, and legs, not arms, they're smaller muscle groups, but you can't work your chest or back without your arms. So don't worry, you'll still get those arms worked. As I build that lean muscle, I'm getting stronger, I'm building bone density. Those are 2 pesky, wonderful side effects. But I'm turning the dial up 24 hours a day. So while I'm sitting here just talking to you, or while I'm reading a book or working on the computer, I'm burning more calories just by sitting there. versus the only that burning more calories while I'm doing that hike or on that treadmill. So cardio is not bad. Cardio will help you detoxify. It will help you sleep better. It releases the feel-good hormones. However, not doing the strength training is you're limiting yourself to what your body's ability to do, but you're also cheating yourself out of quality of life because we lose our strength as we get older. So we only lose it if we don't use it. We don't lose it if we don't use it. Wait, did I say that right? You don't use it and then you lose it. So as we age, we lose it, but because we don't lose it, it's not because we got old, it's because we stopped using it. Hopefully that makes sense. All right, number 2, the second one. Calorie restriction. This is something I see almost daily. And when I see you, and this is the only reason why we have you guys count calories. It's because when we take away breads and sugars and processed foods like the cheeseburgers and the French fries, you know, we can get 1,200 calories in a sack at McDonald's or Burger King or whatever. But to get all 1,200 calories in eating with the limits that we've given you is more of a challenge. However, the reason we want you to watch your calories is because if you go too low for too many days in a row, your body is brilliant. It's very smart. And it will adjust. It will go, okay, she's not feeding me, like the consistent intermittent fasting. If that's what you do all the time, body slows itself down. It's called starvation mode. It's a real thing. So if you're only getting 700 calories, 600, 800, and that's your normal, the only way to lose weight is if you now go to 500. And then your body gets adapted to that. And the only way to lose weight is to go to 300. Are you going to get what you need? Are you going to get enough vitamin A or B or C or D or anything? What the heck is going on? It's my boss and my colleagues. Do they not know what I'm doing right now? Shame on you guys. I'm sorry. Let me just see if I can't turn that down. Anyway, so hopefully that makes sense. We're in a calorie deficit, which we have to be for weight loss. But if we go too low, we want to be in a sweet spot. If we go too low, the body, it backfires, and then the body just slows down and stops spending the calories. It's like if you get your job hours cut in half and you got half your paycheck, you're not going to call a travel agent or buy concert tickets or walk into a shoe store. We're going to pay our most important bills. And so that's how the body responds too. It'll beat your heart. It'll help you think. It'll help you digest, but it's not going to be burning out extra fat because it's trying to preserve itself. So don't go too low. Eat extra protein if you need to. Eat your good healthy fats. Your body needs those things. All right, next up, number 3. Using willpower. I see this a lot with some people. Now, everybody comes from a different head space, so to speak. And some people get here and they're really reluctant. They're scared. They're nervous. Some are terrified. Like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm afraid. This is hard. And that's one thing. But then I get some other people and they're like, I'll do whatever it takes. Whatever you tell me to do, I'll do that. And that's great. However, it makes me a little bit nervous because I feel like it's all willpower in the beginning. And willpower is basically, I looked it up. It says a sudden burst of energy to do or not do something. The problem with that is this: I'm not going to eat a cookie. I'm not going to eat the cookie. I'm not going to eat the cookie. If I keep thinking about cookies, I'm obsessed with cookies. Eventually, these white knuckles will give in, and then I end up eating the whole bag of cookies. So, and the other side of that coin too is what's happening is the subconscious mind, which is like this conscious mind has made the decision, oh, I want to lose weight, I want to get healthy, so I'm going to do this program. So I'm not going to eat the cookie. But that's 5% of our mind is the conscious mind. The 95% of the rest, 95% is the subconscious mind. So how is your 5% going to fight the 95%? Well, you have to do some things to condition your subconscious mind. The subconscious mind does not know real from imagined. So I believe next week, we're going to dive deep into this. We're going to talk about the difference between discipline and willpower. So for today's sake, I will say adding in little tiny disciplines, using them then willpower, white knuckles, I'm not going to eat the cookie. Adding just teeny tiny. If the tinier the steps, the more likely we are to take them, the more likely we are to stick with them. If I join this group and I say, don't eat any of this and don't eat any of that, and it's like, oh my God, that's too much. Like we say, get off of coffee, but slowly wean yourself off the coffee. It's little teeny tiny disciplines. If I say go to the gym, it's like, oh my God, I don't have to figure out what to do and go to the gym. Like start with disciplines. Day one, just put your tennis shoes on. Okay, I can do that. Day two, put your whole workout clothes on. That's it. That's all you got to do. Day three, maybe do some research on the internet of gyms near you, and then just keep adding little tiny disciplines, or the little disciplines of meal prepping, or little disciplines of chopping extra vegetables and keep them in the freezer so that when you go to meal prep, it's 90% done for you. It's those little disciplines versus willpower that will get you to your goal. And it will be far more doable if we call them little disciplines versus, oh, I'm just not going to eat the cookie. It's really, really hard to do that because you're fighting 95% of the unconscious mind. All right, next up, we've got that next one. Not addressing gut and liver health. Well, this is why you guys are all here, or at least most of you are here for that. So how do I want to start this? Okay, so let me just go through what should happen. Okay, so digestion really starts with your eyes and your smells. So we see food, or even thinking about food can start the salivary process. Thinking about it, like, what am I going to make for Saturday night, or whatever the thing is. We see it, we smell it. You know, some of those we start to salivate, some stuff goes on. But generally speaking, it starts in the mouth. We start to chew. There's certain enzymes, particularly the ones that break down carbohydrates, will happen in the mouth. Your mouth is chewing. It's breaking down the food by crushing it with your teeth. And then we swallow, goes down through the esophagus, and then it lands in the stomach. When it lands in the stomach, a couple of things happen. There's enzymes that are released. There's hydrochloric acid, which is released. Both of those things are there to break down your food. The hydrochloric acid is also there to kill any bacteria. So if it's a bad food, it doesn't work all the time because we on occasion do get a food poisoning, but we mostly don't because we've got that hydrochloric acid. The enzymes help break down the food, and the stomach actually does this thing where it's between the enzymes, the acids, and the stomach. It squishes up that food, and then the food knows at some point it should turn it into a liquid. And then, where's my arrow? And then it goes down into these little intestines right here, these orange ones, and it will go through. Again, more enzymes are released, and this is where the digestive or the absorption of the nutrition starts. It starts in these small intestines and eventually goes into the big intestine. There's more and more digestion happening. Most of it does happen in the smaller, but some of it does happen in larger. And this is where we're forming our bowel movements. And then we have nerve cell endings at the very end here that says, oh, it's time to go. And then hopefully we release something formed, not too hard, not too soft, formed, and it's complete, and we clean out the body, and that is the process. What happens through the years? We go through we have antibiotics, which messes up the bacteria in the gut. It messes up this is where we make our B vitamins, particularly our B12. This is where we're absorbing and breaking down our food, and it's not able to happen. Also, in the stomach, if the stomach isn't breaking down, we don't have enough acids, we don't have enough enzymes, the food knows it needs to leave the stomach. So what happens is it tries to go back up into the esophagus. And this is where we get a GERD or heartburn. And there's a little sphincter right here, and it says, no, 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 you can't go up. So eventually that undigested food, bigger chunks will come through, go into the intestines. Well, what happens? Where's my, oh, this doesn't have this right back here, this light green thing, I think would be the pancreas. Well, the pancreas is what excretes the insulin, and which helps regulate blood sugars, which helps get those blood sugars into the cells where they need to go, rather than let the sugar go rampant wild into the body, which causes a host of problems. So when bigger chunks, rather than the liquid, like I said, when it's doing what it's supposed to do, it turns into the liquid. But if it doesn't turn into liquid, there's still chunks. The pancreas that says, oh, there's more food. There's extra food. So it's pumping, extra insulin. Insulin is your fat storage hormone. So here we are exercising and we're starving ourselves and we're eating right. But if our digestive system isn't right, and the insulin levels are pump, we're trying to fight the fat storage hormone. It's just not possible. It's not something we can do. And if we're eating a lot of carbohydrates, which is sugar, it can create a fatty liver, which causes problems for the liver, or we just haven't done a good liver cleanse for a while. The liver is the only organ that we have in the human body that helps the body metabolize fat most efficiently. So by cleaning up the liver and getting the digestive system healthy, now we can get back to a really good health and get back to good digestion, good absorption. Now we're going to absorb more vitamins, absorb more minerals, absorb more antioxidants, anti-aging, all of that stuff. If we're not getting all those vitamins and minerals absorbed into the body, no wonder we're tired. No wonder we're sick and we're tired. So this is a really important piece. And guess what? In 2 weeks, I believe it's 2 weeks, I will dive deeper into this whole thing, gut, liver, health, on a deeper dive. So I'll give you guys some really good things that you can do to keep this healthy, because you guys are only in the program technically 3 months. Some of you are with us for longer, but I want you to know of things you can do as the little birdie leaves the nest, so to speak. Ooh, this is a big juicy one. Where's my notes on this? All right. Awesome. Okay. So the next one is really not addressing sleep. And this one is probably one of the most overlooked, but really, 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 really important pieces of overall health. Just in general, think about how we feel when we have one night of bad sleep. One night of bad sleep is, we don't feel good. But number one, having a good night's sleep can keep your hormones regulated. Number one is if it's typically between midnight and 2 a.m. when your body releases the growth hormone, the human growth hormone. This is the one that keeps us young. This is the one that keeps our body's ability to have those strong, lean muscles, which is what I was talking about earlier, which keeps your metabolism revved up. If we're not maintaining those lean muscles, our metabolism slows down. And if we're not releasing any human growth hormone, it's harder to maintain that lean muscle. So that's one of the hormones that it's really important. The other two really important hormones that get deregulated when we don't sleep good is ghrelin and leptin. Ghrelin is your hunger hormone, and leptin is the I'm satisfied hormone. So, and think about it. If you have one night of bad sleep, your ghrelin is on overtime. And so you don't know when you're full, like your ghrelin is what tells, and I'd always mix those two up. So how I remember it is ghrelin is make my stomach growling. So that might be a way for you to remember it. Ghrelin is growling. So your stomach is growling. But if the ghrelin is working overtime and it's on high alert, you're hungry, you're just hungry. I just want something. And it really is going to make you crave carbs and comfort foods. And a lot of studies show that people that got their sleep deprived. They wanted breads and they wanted toast and they wanted just a lot of those comfort foods. And the leptin, that drops off. It doesn't know when you're full. So you still keep wanting to eat. So if those two things are off, and they usually go together, when one is off, so is the other. It is disastrous for trying to do discipline when you're starving to death. How am I going to not eat the thing when I feel starving? Whether we need nourishment or not, if those hormones are off, it's not going to be easy to stay within the program. Also, if you stay up late, there's more hours in the day for you to have eating. If I'm in bed and asleep by 10 o'clock, I'm not munching on something. And studies also show people that eat snacks, people that stay up late, snack late. People that snack late, the typical snack is not the healthy choice. That's what studies are showing. And so now we're getting extra calories with the bad stuff. And like I talked about eating right before bed, how hard it is on the body. And then, think of sleep as a charging station, like your phone. Like we have zero energy. If I have zero energy, am I going to go to the gym tomorrow? And if I do get to the gym, what am I going to do when I get there? I'm going to look at the massage chair, because I go to Mountainside Fitness and they have a massage chair in there. and it's free for members. So you can get on there and turn it on for 15 minutes, put your headphones on and have 15 minutes of bliss. I'm probably going to do that and probably not going to work out if I didn't sleep very well. That's just a reveal of, at least I think about that. I probably won't, but I think about that. Lack of sleep also plays a role in your insulin. Again, insulin is your fat storage hormone. And just being able to stay on track. If you're tired, your motivation is out the window. So I don't feel like cooking. I don't feel like meal prepping. I don't feel like going to the gym. I feel like eating a sandwich. I feel like eating some ice cream. It's just your motivation goes out the window. So please do yourself a favor. And I know a lot of you come in, oh, well, I don't go to bed until 2 a.m. That's just how it is. I don't have to work tomorrow. I'm retired. You'll have a whole day if you start practicing. And again, it's about baby steps. So if you're going to bed at 2 a.m., try 1:30, try 1:15, little baby steps, and then force yourself to get up a little bit earlier so you eventually get in the habit. They're all habits. These are all habits that we can change. So there's that. All right, so some label reading mistakes. I'm gonna move this thing over here. So here we go. First one. All right, if something has a stamp on the front of the package and it's plant-based, does that mean it's automatically your best choice? So let me first off by saying, if it says plant-based, I'm not saying it is a good choice. I'm not saying it's a bad choice. Plant-based things can be very good. If you've ever heard me talk, what is the mantra I always say you guys should say? The more veggies I eat, the leaner I get. The more veggies I eat, the leaner I get, right? So I'm all for lots and lots of veggies. They should be half your plate. Half your plate should be covered in veggies. Half your dinner plate. However, this particular thing, I just picked this out. It's got plant-based ranch dressing. It comes with that. But if you look at the ingredients in that plant-based dressing, okay, great. It doesn't have any cream in it. So it's non-dairy. So that part's good because we're not doing dairy right now. However, its primary ingredient is soybean oil. And it could very well have sugar in it. Did someone have a question?
No, I was just commenting on the soybean oil. Terrible stuff.
Very terrible. Highly processed, super cheap, which is why they use it. Not good for you. It's connected to weight loss or weight gain and obesity. So it's just highly processed. And soybeans are a hormone disruptor. So just because it says plant-based, do some more homework. There's more information that you need before plant-based is a good choice for you or not. All natural. So when something says all natural on the label, it doesn't mean it's bad, but I'm telling you, it does not. There are zero hoops the food companies have to jump through to be able to put that all natural stamp on their package. There's no requirements. If it at one point in all the processing processes, if it started off as something natural, they can say it was natural. But keep in mind, snake venom is natural. Sorry. This one, I had to put this one in there because it got me a couple times. Made with, and I'll fill in the blank, made with stevia. This was a yogurt I was buying, and I was so excited because I've seen those low carb yogurts, and I know you guys aren't eating yogurt yet, but someday if you ever buy one, this is just an example. But those low carb yogurts are made with aspartame, which is chemical, which we don't want. And I don't want that in my body. So I see on the front of this particular yogurt, it says made with stevia. And I'm like, awesome. So I get a bunch of those. I buy them. I get them all the way home. And then I just happen to be I guess it's a good habit, but I should have done it before I bought it. I turn it around. It absolutely had aspartame in it. And it had aspartame higher on the list. Your ingredients list goes from most to least. So stevia was at the very bottom of the list, which means it had less stevia than anything else in the whole product. And it had far more aspartame. So at this point, who cares? I still got the damn chemicals that I was trying to avoid in the first place. The other one that got me with this was, it was a salad dressing. It said made with olive oil. I'm like, finally, because all these other stupid salad dressings are made with soybean oil and vegetable oil or canola oil or other seed oils. So I'm like, oh, good, it's made with olive oil. Perfect, I'll get that one. I get all the way home and then I turn it around and I look at the ingredients list. And it had soybean oil in it. It absolutely, and it was, again, higher on the list. Olive oil was at the very bottom. Did they put olive oil in it? Yes. They put 10 cups of the soybean oil and 1 drop of olive oil, but they didn't lie. So you really got to, here's what's my next one. You really got to look at your ingredients list. So not looking at your ingredients list is a huge mistake. Sometimes we're fooled by these outer labels, plant-based, all natural, organic. You know, organic doesn't mean it's bad, but you could have a bag of sugar that's stamped with organic. Doesn't mean it's our best choice. So you got to really, really, really do your homework. And I'm sure we'll be doing label reading coming up probably next month, but anyway, so just be sure to look at your ingredients. And if you're not sure, send me the ingredients list and I'll look at it, because there's a lot of things that who knows what they are. But the general rule is if you don't have it in your kitchen, it's probably not a good idea. If you can't pronounce it and you don't know what it is, probably not a great idea. A serving size, that's a big one. And this is when I first started studying all of this stuff, label reading and all this stuff. And I mean, you guys, some of you that have been with me for a while know this story, but I was looking at like those packaged of muffins, those big giant muffins, they're individually wrapped. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, the fat was not as high as I thought. The carbs was not as high as I thought it would be. The sugars was not as high as I thought about it. How could I be so wrong? And I couldn't figure out, like, wow, why did I think this was such a bad item? And then I look and I finally realized, well, it's 2 servings. So it's literally double the fat, double the carbs, double the sugars, double the calories. So you really got to know what is, just because it was 1 muffin. And same with like drinks, like, and sodas. I know you guys don't drink sodas. Most of my people don't drink sodas or don't drink them anymore, but it'll say, 100 calories or whatever sugars. But in that 1 bottle, it's 2.5 servings. So 2.5 times the amount of calories, 2.5 times the amount of sugar, and 2.5 the amount of carbohydrates. So really understand what they're telling you is however many calories and fats and carbs. Make sure you know what a serving is so that you can double it and triple it to get a real number. All right, number 7. Yeah, this one's number 7. Not addressing the glycemic index or the glycemic load. We talked about this just a couple of weeks ago, but like I said earlier, when I say calories are just calories, No, because if we're taking in high glycemic index foods or high glycemic load foods, it sends our body right into fat storage. It excretes extra insulin levels, which literally tells the body to store fat, which is the last thing we're trying to do. Even if weight loss isn't on your radar, you don't want to start storing fat. We want to have lean body mass. We want to have a strong body with lean muscles. We need some fat to live, but we need it within normal limits. So we don't want to add extra. So generally speaking, the glycemic index, if I'm looking, and it's any of the carbohydrates, fats and proteins generally don't have a glycemic index, unless it's something like a cottage cheese, because it does have naturally occurring carbs. But I would just go to Google or Siri or smart speaker, Alexa, and say, what is the glycemic index of whatever it is, an apple, a pear, a grapefruit, an orange, white rice, brown rice. If you see the difference between white rice and brown rice, you will never eat white rice again. It's that white sticky sushi rice is the highest glycemic rice you can eat. It's in, I believe, the 80s. We want to be under 55. So 55 and lower is a good number. 56 to 70 is medium. And anything over 70 is on the avoid list. Avoid, 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 avoid. Now, the glycemic load is a little bit more accurate. And how you get the glycemic load is you have to know how many carbohydrates, which is why I don't use this, because there's too much math. But you have to know how many carbohydrates times its glycemic index divided by 100. So while the glycemic index is high on a watermelon, the glycemic load is under a 10. You want under 10 on glycemic load. So it's really not as bad as it could be. However, the glycemic load of that white rice is anything over 10 or over 20 is considered really, really high. Run, run, run. Do not consume it. But 10 to 20 is medium. Below 10 is low. But this is we talked about this just a couple weeks ago, so I'll kind of stop there on this. But it's really important you know what the glycemic index of your carbohydrates before you consume them, and consume them last. Yes, not all calories are considered equal. All right, bonus round. Being consistent with calorie consumption. Ugh. So I see this a lot, and this is where it's just so unfair. So because we should be rewarded for consistency, but if I see someone giving me 1 week's worth of journal pages, and it's 1,100, it's 1,102, it's 1,110, it's 1,090, it's 1,100, it's 1,150. It's really, 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 really consistent. And they're like, Tami, I'm not losing any weight. That would make sense to me because being really consistent, once again, the body adapts. So typically what I would tell the person who's being really consistent, and again, not fair, they should be rewarded, but I will say calorie cycle. So maybe one do a 1,400 calorie day and then go back to 1,000 and then do a 12 or 13, kind of bouncing up and down rather than 11, 11, 11, 11. And then maybe changing up whatever you're doing for exercise between those two. It might shift your body out of that sort of stuck space. But being consistent can backfire, unfortunately. It's not fair, but it's the truth. And honestly, that's why cheat days actually work. Like in our program, we don't want you to cheat because we're about healing the gut. So the minute you eat a sugar or carbs that turn to sugar, you've just destroyed all the work you've done in your gut. So please try not to cheat. But generally for weight loss, if someone's having a cheat day every 10 days and they have, 2,500 calories, but then they go back to their 11, 11, 11, it actually serves them. It's crazy weird, but it does work. All or nothing. This is, and I've always been like that. Oh, well, I screwed up. So I screwed up, so I might as well just go off and have 10 ice creams or 10 cookies, so to speak. It's not all or nothing. If you had the one cookie, you ate the ice cream, you did the thing, fine. Just get right back on quick. Don't call it, oh, well, I've already screwed it up. I might as well throw in the towel and be done. I'll go back next Monday. You know, I'll start again, and it's only Wednesday. So now I'm going to screw up Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, start again on Monday. By Wednesday, I screw up again. That was a habit I was doing a lot. So don't do all or nothing. Never say never. And, you know, right now, these first 3 months, we really like you guys to stay off those dairies and the glutens and the sugars and all the red meats and the legumes. However, once you've done the gut repair, you know, once in a while we have a slice of pizza. Once in a while we have a good steak. Once in a while we have a dessert. Doesn't mean we've ruined anything. If you tell me I can never have a slice of pizza or a dessert, you know, what the hell, how am I supposed to live with that? But if I know it's once in a blue moon and then I look forward to it and I practice delayed gratification, so I know it's not happening until Saturday, I can appreciate it a little bit more, but then I can go right back onto my short little disciplines, back to our disciplines. Again, fall down and don't get back up. That's kind of my screw up by Wednesday. Okay, I'll start again next Monday example. But if we screw up, that's okay. Just get right back on your track. It's not over. If we have a piece of bread or we have something, some sugar or something, it takes you back about, as Dr. Infantina says, about 3 or 4 days. So it takes 3 or 4 days to get back to where you were. So don't keep giving up and go, well, I already screwed it up. I might as well throw in the towel. Just get back. Now, diet food is a slippery slope because usually diet food is filled with like the aspartames and the sucraloses, those chemically sweeteners. And on the other side, diet foods like those 100-calorie packs, they're full of sugar, but it's only 100 calories. So what happens when you consume these little snack packs? Oh, but it's only 100 calories. If it's sugar, what happens? It spikes your insulin levels. Your insulin, it spikes your blood sugars. Insulin levels rise up. Then you plummet quickly because you've had all that sugar, which makes you feel hungry. Whether you need food or not, you feel hungry. So that is a very dangerous place. Just eat clean foods, eat vegetables, eat some low sugar fruits, eat your good carbs, eat your good proteins, and you eat your good fats. You're going to be fine. You don't have to be on a diet. Just eat clean and healthy. Oh my goodness, it's done. So I just want to remind you guys, CoachTami.DrInfantino.com. This is where you can book your one-on-one coaching calls. This is also where you're going to find your weekly check-in sheet. You'll also find the manual in here. You'll find your journal pages in here. You'll find, if you want to fill out your journal pages online, you can find it in here as well. If you want to email me, I'm at coach@DrInfantino.com. Phew, all right. Does anybody have any questions?
I have a question. I just want to thank you for the info on that chopper mandolin. I got it.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful.
I
Man,
did like 3 peppers in 20 minutes.
Yeah, and then you're done for however long. I mean, I did my chopping last weekend, and I did bell peppers and onions and celery. And it might have taken me, it was under an hour, but now it's done for a month.
Yeah.
And I have those, I can add vegetables to every single meal for a while. And it's just a little handful of onions or handful of this or that. So
Right.
I'm glad you like it, and I'm glad you're using it. And you can probably, I guess, and I should probably do this as well, go to YouTube and look up kitchen mandolin chopper ideas, because there's all these different attachments, and it can give you some extra ideas. Like you can thinly slice zucchini to make maybe make roll-ups with those and bake those and put like a spaghetti sauce on it and some chicken or something like that, or whatever. There's just so many things we can use for it. You can chop your garlic. There's so many different things we can use. So I'm glad.
Ooh, garlic. I didn't even think of that.
It has a little, at least mine does, where you can just rub your garlic on it and it cuts it in a, I don't know. I just buy mine already chop, so I don't use that feature. But I use garlic a lot, so I buy the big jar.
Yeah.
And I just use a spoon, throw that in, get my onions. Garlic and onions are primarily the start of anything I make. Maybe some bell peppers, maybe some celery sometimes, so. Good, I'm glad you like it. Anybody else? Does anybody have any questions on something else like supplements or the cleanse or something non-related to the top mistakes? All right, guys. Well, I guess that's it for today. I hope you guys have a wonderful week. And so next week is I'm calling it the power of you. It's all going to be mindset stuff. All of that, we talked a little bit about trying not to use discipline and how to train that subconscious mind. That's the deep dive we'll go into next week. So if you have ever signed up for something and then you sort of find yourself letting the cravings win, you want to sign up or show up for those. If you can't get there, I do record them and load them to the Facebook group. And then I'll email out the Wednesday one on Fridays. So look for that if you're not on Facebook. And that is all I have for today. So you guys have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Thank you.